Sister Spouses fans spout over Meri Earthy Colored's companions. Now that Sister Spouses star Meri Brown has abandoned Flagstaff, she's centered around building an extraordinary life for herself in Utah. As the first three spouses investigate life after polygamy, fans are eager to see where Meri goes from here. During Sunday night's episode, Meri and her companion set up a party so she could get to know others locally. Albeit the tender loving care star was disheartened there weren't any dating possibilities at the party, it was an obvious sign her future will be brilliant. Fans can't get enough of this side of Meri, truth be told. See what they're talking about the truth star and her new companions on the web. Meri Brown gets love and backing from her companions in Utah. In past seasons, Meri Brown generally assumed a more quelled part. In any case, now that she's living as a solitary lady, her companions are helping her get comfortable with herself. Up to this point, fans have seen Meri recited private texts to Kody without holding back, consider him a good-for-nothing in a confession booth, and, surprisingly, conceded her actual sentiments about the lawful separation. Fans can hardly stand by to see what future episodes hold for her. Furthermore, it's to a great extent because of her new companion group. A new crying spouse, one Sister Wives watcher posted on Reddit. I somewhat like the presentation of Meri's companions. They add a substance to a generally exhausting season. Is it true that anyone was else chuckling when one of Meri's companions began discussing Robin's crying, and expressed something about how Robin could be desirous assuming that Kody tracked down another spouse that cried more than Robin? I fail to remember the specific words. I thought it was humorous on the grounds that I thought the crying was something just we on Reddit saw, haha, JK. Viewers couldn't want anything more than to see a greater amount of the Utah companion gathering. In general, other Sister Spouses watchers concurred that Meri's new companions are extraordinary augmentations to the series. They left remarks including, I'm cherishing Meri and her companions. We should have a Meri and companions rewatch show and they can remark about the past episodes. Let the sarcasm start. That sounds marvelous. I truly believe that Meri should have the option to share her story, in the event that she needs to, and be allowed to add, honest, setting and point out the parts that watchers misunderstood, which prompted such countless mistaken and unjustifiable suspicions about her. It's been a long time since she wedded into this wreck. Homegirl has the right to sort records out and not have others mostly telling her life for her. Every other person on the show has given their view of her, it's the ideal opportunity for her to reimburse them. Meri's whole person bend is astonishing. She went from being a doorstep young lady to a free lady. I think her companions are entertaining, and I'm glad for Meri. Meri Brown, the once ignored first spouse of Kody Brown from Sister Wives, has turned into an astonishing focal point in the most recent time of the hit tender loving care show. Watchers and pundits the same have noticed that Meri's storylines, close-to-home weakness, and well-established pressure with the remainder of the earthy colored family have moved her to the very front, making her a fundamental power in the thing many are calling quite possibly of the most convincing season in years. In spite of past reactions of her job in the family show, fans are currently perceiving that Meri is conveying the season with her crude genuineness and the continuous intricacies of her relationship elements. A vital job in the earthy colored family's downfall. Meri's process has been at the focal point of numerous vital crossroads in the earthy colored family's ancestry, from being Kody's most memorable spouse and the groundwork of the plural union with the impetus for legitimate rebuilding when she separated from Kody to permit him to wed Robin. While Meri's job in the family has reduced throughout the long term, her presence in this season has reignited interest in her story. Meri has been vocal about her battles with forlornness and her sensations of prohibition inside the family. Her wild connection with Kody is currently basically non-existent, with Kody transparently conceding that he has no heartfelt interest in her. However, Meri stays unflinching in her obligation to the family, expressing her faith in the profound pledge of plural marriage. This devotion, even despite dismissal, has ignited critical discussion among fans and cast individuals the same, giving the season a rich close-to-home layer. Defying Robin and Kody. One of the most discussed parts of the time has been Meri's readiness to go up against Robin and Kody about their rendition of occasions and their treatment of her. In one especially paramount episode, Meri disproved Robin's cases about their underlying gathering, giving her own form of the story and blaming Robin for modifying history to paint herself in a superior light. Meri's sincerity about her stressed associations with both Kody and Robin has inspired an emotional response from fans, who have long reprimanded the apparent bias toward Robin. By talking her reality, Meri has added a layer of intricacy to the relational peculiarities, compelling both the crowd and her kindred cast individuals to re-examine their view of her. Flexibility in the midst of dismissal. Meri's flexibility, even with dismissal, has been a point of convergence of the time. In spite of Kody's unmistakable lack of engagement and the absence of a significant association with the other sister spouses, Meri has stayed a piece of the family. While certain fans see this as an indication of solidarity and steadfastness, others view it as a refusal to recognize the truth and her yearning for the affectionate relational intricacy that at first attracted her to plural marriage. Her weakness at these times has reverberated with watchers, a large number of whom have lauded her for her grit in sharing such profoundly private battles on public TV. Fan responses: a troublesome figure. Meri's expanded presence this season has evoked a large number of responses from fans. On one hand, numerous watchers have communicated freshly discovered regard for Meri, commending her genuineness and strength. Her eagerness to go up against troublesome insights and challenge the account set by Kody and Robin has acquired her adoration from fans who recently excused her as latent or unendurable. Then again, a watcher stay baffled with Meri's hesitance to leave the family, contending that her proceeded with presence just propagates the harmful elements. Meri is plainly miserable, and Kody doesn't need her there. For what reason does she continue to put herself through this? One fan remarked via online entertainment. An essential shift by tender loving care. A few fans hypothesize that Meri's expanded job this season is an intentional move by tender loving care to move the concentrate away from Christine's takeoff and keep the show locking in. Christine's choice to leave the family was a significant storyline in past seasons, and her resulting satisfaction has left fans addressing why Meri, and even Janelle, haven't followed after accordingly. By setting Meri at the focal point of the dramatization, the show has figured out how to hold its close-to-home weight and keep watchers put resources into the earthy-colored family's advancing elements. Meri's web-based entertainment presence. Meri's dynamic presence via web-based entertainment has additionally added to her developing effect on the show. She often shares persuasive messages and updates about her life, including her work at Lizzie's Legacy Hotel. While certain fans consider this to be a constructive option for Meri to zero in on her self-awareness, others scrutinize her for not adjusting her activities on the show to her words on the web. In any case, Meri's posts frequently flash discussions among fans, keeping her at the front of the sister spouses' talk. The core of the time. What makes Meri's job this season especially convincing is her capacity to bring areas of strength out from both her relatives and watchers. Her intricate relationship with Kody, her showdowns with Robin, and her relentless devotion to the family have made her a fundamental piece of the Times account. Whether fans love her or disdain her, there's no rejecting that Meri is a main impetus behind the show's proceeded with progress. As the season unfurls, fans are anxious to see whether Meri will at long last do whatever it takes to focus on her own satisfaction or keep on battling for her place in a family that appears to be reluctant to completely acknowledge her. One way or the other, her process vows to stay a focal concentration, guaranteeing that she proceeds to convey the season in her own remarkable manner. End. Meri Earthy Colored's part in this time of sister spouses has reignited interest in her story and situated her as quite possibly of the most convincing person on the show. Her flexibility, weakness, and eagerness to challenge the story have made her a polarizing, however irrefutably basic figure. As the relational peculiarities keep on developing, Meri's process will probably stay at the core of the show, dazzling watchers and starting perpetual discussion about her position in the earthy-colored family and the tender loving care sister spouses, exploring the ups and downs of plural marriage, grievousness, and family show. As the primary spouse of Kody Brown, she was once the foundation of the earthy-colored family's excursion into polygamy. Be that as it may, long periods of profound disregard, cracked connections, and public examination left Meri wrestling with self-uncertainty and vulnerability. In 2024, Meri made what fans are referring to her as best choice yet. She had a significant shift in perspective that has moved her point of view, her job in the family, and her future. 10 years of battles. Meri's excursion inside the earthy-colored family has been set apart by a progression of inner difficulties. Her separation from Kody in 2014 to lawfully permit him to wed Robyn was a huge defining moment. While the choice was outlined as a magnanimous demonstration to help the family, it left Meri feeling sidelined and underestimated. The close-to-home distance among her and Kody just filled in ensuing years, with Kody conceding that he no longer considered their relationship to be heartfelt. The public aftermath from their battles was intensified by Meri's contribution in a duping outrage in 2015, which further estranged her from Kody and the other sister spouses. Regardless of these difficulties, Meri stayed enduring in her obligation to the family, frequently expressing her faith in the profound agreement of plural marriage. Nonetheless, her proceeded with presence in a family that appeared to dismiss her left many fans scrutinizing her thought processes and self-esteem. 2024, a time of change. In 2024, Meri shocked fans and family the same with a shift in perspective that would rethink her way. While the particulars of her choice have been uncovered progressively through the season, the quintessence of her change lies in her newly discovered obligation to self-esteem, autonomy, and clearness about her needs. For quite a long time, Meri gave off an impression of being trapped in a pattern of looking for approval from Kody and the remainder of the family. Her shift in perspective in 2024 was tied in with moving away from this dynamic as well as about recovering her feeling of organization. Fans saw a change in her disposition during interviews and via online entertainment, where she started to talk all the more straightforwardly about her self-improvement and the significance of defining limits. Relinquishing the past. One of the most significant parts of Meri's change was her choice to relinquish the past. In past seasons, Meri frequently returned to old complaints and communicated her yearning for the relational peculiarity they once had. While her sentiments were substantial, they kept her fastened to a rendition of the earthy-colored family that as of now not existed. In 2024, Meri's shift in perspective included recognizing the truth of her circumstance and deciding to zero in on the present and future. This change in outlook permitted her to break liberated from the close-to-home load of her past and start imagining a daily existence past the limits of her stressed relationship with Kody and the other sister spouses. An emphasis on freedom. A vital piece of Meri's choice was her re-established center around freedom. Throughout the long term, Meri has sought after different undertakings, including her quaint little inn, Lizzie's Legacy Motel. While these undertakings were at first seen as a method for enhancing the family's pay, they have turned into an image of Meri's independence and flexibility. In 2024, Meri multiplied down on her enterprising endeavors, involving her business as a stage to interface with her local area and fabricate a day-to-day existence that was satisfying beyond her relational peculiarities. This newly discovered freedom helped her certainty as well as filled in to act as an illustration for others in comparative circumstances, motivating them to focus on their own satisfaction. Further developed connections. Meri's shift in perspective additionally reached out to her associations with the other sister spouses. While pressures with Robyn stay intense, Meri has put forth a cognizant attempt to fix her bonds with Janelle and Christine. In a genuine second on the show, Meri recognized her part in past struggles and communicated her craving to push ahead with common regard and understanding. Fans have noticed that Meri's eagerness to take responsibility for her activities and her endeavors to remake trust have gone quite far in repairing these connections. Albeit the way to compromise is a long way from simple, Meri's earnestness has been met with mindful good faith from Janelle and Christine, as well as the crowd. Fan responses, applause for development. Meri's choice to focus on herself and embrace change has gathered far and wide acclaim from fans. For quite a long time, watchers scrutinized Meri for remaining in a circumstance that appeared to bring her only aggravation. Her eagerness to pursue hard decisions in 2024 has moved public discernment, with many recognizing her for her boldness and flexibility. Via online entertainment, fans have communicated their profound respect for Meri's excursion. Meri's change this season is so rousing. It's never beyond any good time to assume command over your life and spotlight on the main thing, one fan composed on Twitter. Others have commended her for setting an illustration of self-esteem and autonomy despite difficulty. The effect on the show. Meri's shift in perspective altogether affects the elements of sister spouses. Her change has carried a new viewpoint to the show, moving the story from one of contention and brokenness to one of development and probability. While Kody and Robin's relationship stays a focal concentration, Meri's process has added profundity to the season, reminding watchers that self-improvement and strengthening are conceivable even in the most difficult conditions. Looking forward. As 2024 advances, fans are anxious to perceive how Meri's change will keep on unfurling. Will she at last step away from the earthy-colored family for good, or will her shift in perspective lead to another section inside the relational peculiarity? Notwithstanding what's in store, one thing is clear: Meri's choice to focus on herself has shown her a way to a more splendid and really satisfying future. End. Meri Earthy Colored's best choice in 2024 was without a doubt her shift in perspective. By relinquishing the past, embracing freedom, and zeroing in on self-awareness, Meri has changed her life and reimagined her job inside the Earthy Colored family. Her process fills in as a strong update that it's never past the point where it is possible to roll out an improvement and focus on your own satisfaction. As she keeps on exploring her way, fans are pulling for her to discover a sense of reconciliation and satisfaction she merits.